What you doing, Otaku? I'm the AC. I'm going to be talking about Great Pretender Season 2. It came out on Netflix on November 25th, 2020. It is 9 episodes that cover only Case 4, Wizard of Far East. And this anime, it was already my favorite of the year when the first season came out. This is also another great season. I love the fact that it's only 9 episodes. It's not trying to fit into the typical 12 episode season. But if you look at the series overall so far, it kind of fits into the almost a 24 episode season. So, seasons. But, yeah, I'm glad the way they're doing this and breaking it up. It's weird. It's not the typical way anime is distributed. But it's really cool, and I'm really liking, especially this case. It's a big one. It's 9 episodes. Is much bigger than the other 3 so far, and it also gives us more look into other characters, especially more into Makoto, Edamame, which I'm going to be calling him because I think it's more fun, and Laurent. We get to see more of Laurent's past finally. So, just be warned, it's going to get really spoilery, of course. It always does, because I like to talk about all the cool things in it. So, where it starts off, it really does feel like a whole new season instead of just another arc. It has Edamame pretty much giving flashbacks of what's happened in the first 3 cases. He's telling it to the grave of his mom. And it's also him wanting to go off, leave the rest of the group to have an honest life. And it seems like he's really trying, except he ends up working for a woman named Akemi Suzaku, who sells kids, auctions off kids. Yeah, she's in a kid trafficking, not an honest life like he was wanting. To make it worse, it was all set up by Laurent. Yep, this whole thing was just another big con, tricking Edamame into this. And like at first when you see him going through this, realizing what he got himself into, it's like, oh, okay, is this going to be him wanting to make a con and bring Laurent back into it? No, it was just the typical Laurent already putting him into a con for himself. So what their plan is to act like Abby is a princess and sell her for a lot, and then get her escape to Suleiman. It seems simple, it seems too small for them. But then Edamame's like, what about all the other kids that they had? And he wanted to rescue them too. There's about 10. The kids didn't want to go. The kids are like pretty much have just given up, saying pretty much their parents just didn't want them or sold them, and they really have no other life. So they just gave up and are just, I guess, sitting there waiting to die or to be sold. Who knows? But it's not looking good. So Abby ends up having to stay. Edamame ends up having to stay. And then it takes a little bit more time. Eventually, there's a Shanghai group that comes. That used to be a branch. Now it's kind of its own thing. It's led by a guy named Liu Xiao. And under his employment is a guy named Seiji Ozaki, or otherwise called Oz, who is Edamame's dad. The one who used to be a lawyer, but then apparently got arrested for human trafficking. It turns out he's working for a human trafficker now. And this, of course, brings up so many negative emotions. Pretty much just like him abandoning him and his mom, even when his mom died, and never showing back up. And his whole life, his dad was just lied to him. But then it's like, oh, maybe his dad is actually good. He's just trapped in this kind of thing. And they end up trying to get all the kids to escape again. And his dad helps him. Then it looks like his dad betrays him and tells him that what was going on. And then this leads to him eventually getting caught along with Cynthia and Abby. And they're on a boat, planning to get shot. And then it looks like Oz shoots Cynthia and Abby. They go in the water. Then, out of rage, Edamame shoots Oz, and he gets. And at this point, you're just kind of like, okay, well, this is all part of the plan. It seems too obvious. The original plan seemed too simple. Everything seemed to be going too well. And the fact that this happens, it seems like too much of a coincidence. And this goes with the whole thing. Everything seems to be going too easy and too well the entire time. The one hiccup you have is where the kids don't want to go, and so that causes them to stay longer. But all of this, everything that happens is just part of one bigger plan set up not just by Laurent, but also by Oz. So we finally get to see the backstory of Laurent. Finally, it turned out he was already a really smart kid, but then eventually his mom gets conned. Then out her money, then she dies, then he grows up. He finally sees the person who conned her, then is about to kill her, ends up stabbing another person named Dorothy. Well, Dorothy is part of another group of people that includes not just her, but also Seiji Ozaki, Oz, and surprise, Kim Si-won. Yeah, apparently he's known her a lot longer than we even realized, and she was in the business even way longer than he was. Yeah, Laurent is the newer person of the group, and through this we get to see more of them. They do pull all kinds of cons, get rich, and then, you know, Laurent and Dorothy, they start falling in love, and they're like, how about we get out of this game? Retire, we have enough to live off of, and they're like, okay. So all of them decide that they're going to get out of the game. They just want to do one more heist, which is to con Liu Xiao, the person Oz is working for in Shanghai, out of a lot of money too. And they do pretty much the exact same plan they did the first time, except for it doesn't work. So Dorothy acts like she's some kind of princess also from Ethiopia. Everything's going according to plan until it turns out the real princess gets in the news, so they figure out she's not real, and it looks like, just like in the other scene, Dorothy gets shot while on a boat, and she goes overboard and never seen again, and then Lawrence is devastated. And then you think, this will be the time that they realize how dangerous this really is and they need to get out of it, but nope, they're still in it, and turns out this whole thing is for revenge. But apparently Oz was the plan maker, and this whole time, ever since he's apparently went to jail, came back, he's just been working for Lou and just waiting for this plan to unfold. The first 3 cases were also just in prep for Edamame to be ready for this case. And everything's just so manipulative. But with this flashback, we see that plan, we see all the heartbreak Laurent has to go through, and we get caught back up to where we are now. We see how he finds Abby and Cynthia, and it's cool, but it does take a few episodes for just this, and it's really cool. It takes you out for a minute of what's actually going on. After Edamame thought he killed his dad just shows up again and tells them all this history and what their plan's going to be. And yeah, and then their plan just picks right back up where it left off. Now that Liu Jiang thinks that Oz is dead, Laurent goes back, who originally befriended him in the first plan, just kind of like Edamame is doing, to Akemi. He just shows back up again, and that part's weird, because he's just like, I was taking care of my mom, but then she died, and then I was just kind of dealing with affairs, and now I'm back. And it's like, okay, well, that's suspicious, and he just trusts him right away. I guess he just had that much level of trust that just, after being gone for a while, he just comes back and he's like, yeah, so, hey, I'm back again. What's up? That part was kind of weird. But yeah, once it picks up, everything's going perfectly again. Laurent acts like the interpreter for Liu, while Edamame acts like an interpreter for Akemi. That way, when the two meet to do some kind of business deal, they're all interpreting and translating everything wrong. So they're just setting them up for all this stuff, and we see how each side is trying to figure out how to betray the other side for when they meet up. And it turns out, of course, both of them was playing right in their hand. Like I said, everything's going perfectly, and it's cool to see how everything unfolds. But it's also like, okay, well, everything's going to go fine. They're in the meeting, and then, out of nowhere, Edamame decides to just betray everyone. And so, what he does is he brings in, for some reason, Eddie Kasane from the first case. Turns out all three from the previous cases were working together, but especially Eddie was involved with this. He just shows up, pretty much causes a lot of chaos. It really doesn't do anything to benefit the con, but it's also because Edamame's not actually betraying them. He was just wanting to pull one over on Laurent. That was one of his wishes. He said he wished he could do way back in the first episode of the season. And I guess this counts? It's not like... It doesn't help the plan any. It doesn't really hurt the plan any. It just causes a little confusion on Laurent's part, which he picks up on right away, and then lets Oz know, and everything goes over fine. Yeah, it was kind of weird. I don't know if it was just wanting to involve those three into this again. Maybe they'll be involved in something else. I don't know. I thought it would be cool. I thought what I was going for is he was getting him involved again. Like, he got out and he was trying to make big moves again, retaliate against them. And then Edamame found out was trying to trick him. That way, not only was he, like, conning Akemi and Liu, he was also getting Eddie again. But that's not happening. Eddie was working for him. It was kind of a weird mess that seemed unnecessary. But I guess it was just out of ego that Edamame was like, ha, I did this thing. And everyone's like, okay, sure, you got me, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that just ends up with Akemi and Liu and all the few people that were with them. They end up trapped on an island. They built an entire building just for this con, and then leave them trapped on a building as the building collapses behind them. I guess that's something. It doesn't really stop their whole operation, though. That seems like it would have been a bigger deal. They saved the kids that they still had with them, and they get to go out and I guess live some kind of life. But they still have these two companies that are still going to be doing all this human trafficking. They didn't shut that down. They just stopped the leaders for a little bit. Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, it was kind of weird. The ending was the weirdest, and like, yeah, I wasn't really sure about it. Everything else was cool, and then this is just like, okay, I get what you're doing, but it's just like, yeah, sure, yeah, you did that. So after all that's over, it seems like a really great, it's like a finale for a series. This is like, it was supposed to be their last con, to where they all retired and lived out the rest of their lives not doing that. It doesn't seem like that anymore. It seems like they're still going to be raring to go. Not only that, we get to see, very big spoiler, at the end of the episode, Dorothy's still alive. Of course she's still alive. She washed up on some island near Taiwan, and she apparently lost all her memories, maybe? Or maybe she's just using it as an excuse not to have to go back to her old life. I don't know. But it seems like there's going to have to be at least another case, another season. Don't know what that is. Apparently there was something going on with the president, the new president of the United States. So that could be a big con that they're going to be doing. I don't know. Well, just have to see what. I hope there is something cool. I really like this show, regardless of that very weird ending of the season. So yeah, I just want to see what else is going to go on, and see how big it gets in this next part. But besides that, there's other little things that you can just question about. Like, for some reason, Akemi has just really gets attached to Edamame. I think it's supposed to go with this kind of common lesson, like don't get too close to the ones you're conning. You start getting a little attached to them, and there's also this whole like identity process with them. It's like you become so convincing, you start thinking you're a different person. And then there's the whole thing of Oz is making this big plan, but when he originally made it, he didn't know his son was going to be a con man. So yeah, there's questions like that, but I don't know. There's other stuff to keep ponder on. But like I said, really enjoyed the season. Really love the show. My favorite anime of 2020. Well, let me know what you thought. Have you watched it? You definitely should. It's great. And a lot of Lupin the Third, kind of Cowboy Bebop influence into all of it. So yeah, really enjoyable if you like all that kind of stuff. But let me know what you think, and if you like watching me talk about it, go and like this video and want to see me talk more about other anime and all that kind of stuff. Go and subscribe to my channel, you can see when I do all that. But until next time, I'm DAC. Thank you for watching, and bye.